Okay, welcome my students and viewers. Once again, I am here with a few MCQs, and let me start. I am starting on this. This is and very interesting. First two questions. For multiplier to be 1, because K is the investment multiplier. For multiplier to be 1, consumption function would be horizontal to x-axis, vertical to y-axis, downward sloping, upward sloping. Yes. Multiplier is 1 by 1 minus MPC, and here multiplier is supposed to be 1. So for multiplier to be 1, MPC has to be 0. So for multiplier to be 1, the very consumption function should be such that its slope is 0 or MPC is 0, and it happens only if C consumption happens to be constant, then dC by dy, that is nothing but MPC, is 0. This points to the fact that this is y-axis, c-axis 0 if consumption function happens to be the parallel to the base, that is y-axis. Here y-axis, y is income. In the question it is x-axis. X means this is the conventional x-axis. So when this consumption function becomes parallel to this x-axis, then its MPC is 0 and multiplier would be 1. So for multiplier to be 1, consumption function should be parallel to x-axis, that is the base. And the limit of multiplier is, it is always greater than or equal to 1, less than or equal to infinity. So 1 and infinity are the limiting values. For these two values of the multiplier, consumption function would take some another shape. But for the intermediate range, when k is greater than 1 and k is less than infinity, in that case consumption function would be like this. For such consumption function, multiplier would be always greater than 1 and it has to be less than infinity. It is the intermediate case. Now, second question is, for multiplier to be infinity, the consumption function would be, very interesting. Now this multiplier would be infinity if this MPC becomes 1. So multiplier would be 1 by 0 and this is infinity. So the consumption function conforming to the infinity multiplier should be such that its MPC has to be 1, exactly 1. And for MPC has to be exactly 1, MPC must originate from origin at the 45-degree line at each point of this curve. C is y, and since it is 45 degree, so C is y, so dC by dy, that is MPC, is 1. So for multiplier to be infinity, the same consumption function would originate from origin and of course at 45-degree line. So this should be the consumption function for which multiplier would be infinity. So for second one, it should be upward rising at 45-degree from origin. So this would be the answer. So for these two cases. Number 3, for a cobweb model, slope of demand is 5 and slope of supply is 8. Then it has been asked that the price would be unstable, non-oscillatory and stable, none of these. So here the equilibrium condition of cobweb model has to be investigated, that what happens in cobweb model. So as far as the cobweb model is concerned, it is a dynamic market equilibrium model, demand function is without any lag alpha minus beta pt. The demand of T is the very function of price of T, so there is no lag. But supply function has one period lag pt minus 1, and for market clearance dt must be equal to st. The solution of this model requires the use of first order difference equation. First order difference equation, first thing. And when we derive the solution of this model, then the equilibrium is oscillatory this type. So one thing is clear, that the solution of co-wave model always gives a oscillatory solution. That is fine. Now in this oscillatory case, we can have two options, whether it is stable or it is unstable. So for these two things, two conditions have to be memorized. Number one, a stable solution would be when slope of demand is greater than slope of supply. This is a stable oscillation. And second is just the derivative of this one, unstable, when slope of supply is greater than slope of demand. These two things has to be kept in mind. Now here slope of demand is 5 and the slope of supply is 8. So slope of supply is greater than slope of demand. So the very solution would be oscillatory and unstable. Yes. So the solution would be oscillatory and unstable because the slope of supply is larger than the slope of demand. So this one would be the answer. Number 4, liquidity approach to the demand of money is also known as this Radcliffe approach. It was given in England in the year 1959. Originally it was given by Keynes, but with certain modifications it was brought into practice, much practice rather, and almost all of the nations of the world this thing is being used. So this is known as the Radcliffe approach to the liquidity theory of money. Number 5, during the recession, which of the following measure is initiated? When there is a recession in the economy, everything is in the downward direction, price, demand, employment, income, saving, and everything is on the downward move. Then to get the economy out of their quagmire, कीचड़ से आप इसको कैसे निकालेंगे? For that we have given here the 4 solutions: cutting taxes and boosting government spending. Yes. So very first would be the answer, to lift the aggregate demand above in the period of recession, and this is what Keynes gave, and only account of this Keynes became Lord and became the tallest personality of the 20th century in macroeconomics. So this solution of a recessive period was just given by Keynes, and Keynes suggested that through fiscal policy any economy can be relieved of the recession period, and those fiscal measures as a solution of the recession would be that in the recession, to lift aggregate demand above, taxes should be cut, reduction in taxes, and government spending should be boosted or should be increased. Only because in this recession period monetary policy becomes absolutely ineffective. So through fiscal policy, these two are the 2 solutions for the period of recession. So during the period of recession, taxes should be reduced and the government spending should be boosted or should be increased. So this is what the solution of the recession. Explaining more questions, few. 6th question says that the demand function of money, that is known by the L function, L is 0.2y minus 4i. Slope of LM function is, yes. So Here the demand function of L is lambda 1y minus lambda 2I. Lambda 1 is the proportion of total demand held for transaction and precautionary motives, and lambda 2 is a proportion of total demand of money held for a speculative motive. So slope of LM is lambda 1 by lambda 2. This formula has to be kept in mind. Here L is 0.2I minus 4I. Absolutely, lambda 1 is 0.2 and lambda 2 is 4, hence slope of LM is lambda 1 by lambda 2, 0.2 by 4, and hence 0.5. 0.2 by 4, that is 0.05. This is what. So this happens to be the slope of LM curve. So this one would be the slope. Seventh question. LM1 curve 0.4y minus 0.6i, 6i, not 6i, not point. The initial LM curve was 0.2y minus 4i. In the previous question, we have seen its slope as 0.05. This LM1 has shifted to LM2, and the demand curve of money has, say it is L1 and it is L2. The demand curve of money has shifted to 0.4y minus 6i. Its slope is 0.4 by 0.6 and it is 0.06. So slope has increased, so the LM curve would become steeper. So yes, slope has increased, so the LM curve has become a steeper one, as if the demand curve of money has changed from L1 to this L2. So this is how we can compare the slope. Diagram. If it was the LM curve for the initial demand curve of money, then yes. So clockwise, anti-clockwise movement to become a steeper, and clockwise to become flatter. So here the slope has increased, so LM curve has become a steeper. This is LM curve, and this is how LM curve has shifted from right to left, anti-clockwise. So slope has increased, that is the LM curve has become a steeper one. So regarding the slope of the LM curve, this formula has to be kept in mind, and lambda 1 and lambda 2 here I have explained it. Number 8, which of the following is not an instrument of the capital market? Yes, though the capital market of India is not as much developed as it is in the Western advanced countries like America and England, France, Germany, and in all those countries, capital market is quite developed one. We are too developing our own capital market, but in the context of Indian capital market, which of the following is not an instrument? Equity share happens to be the instrument of capital market. Debenture is also a component of the capital market. Gold reserve absolutely, it is also a component of the capital market. And commercial papers for Indian stock market or for Indian capital market, this commercial paper is not an instrument. This has to be kept in memory. Commercial paper. Number 9. Which of the following is not the function of capital market? Which of the following is not the function of capital market? And for this, number A is channelizing funds from less profitable to more profitable. Absolutely, it is one of the important function of of the capital market. And number A, mobilizing saving into investment. Of course, it is the prime work of the capital market. Number B says that it is channelizing funds from less profitable to more profitable. Fine, it is also the function of the capital market. Mobilizing funds from surplus to deficit units, it is also one of the function of the capital market. Fourth one, that providing better returns to direct investors. No, this is not the function of the capital market. So this would be the answer. This would be the answer. So this is how we attempt. Let me explain a few more questions. The 10th question says that in balance of payment account, the transfer payments are included in which of the following? Now, transfer payments, when any factor does the work, that is, when any factor produces some commodity, either visible or invisible, income is generated, and whatever income factor gets, that is the factor income, and that factor income has been paid in accordance with the production by the same factor. So this is a factor income. When any factor gets retired, it is no longer usable, it no longer contributes in the form of production in any way, and even then, if factors are paid, any man gets employed for 20-30 years, he is in the job, he or she in the job, he is being paid, that is his income. After retirements, whatever pension or whatever benefits an employee gets, that is a transfer payment. Any student gets a scholarship, that is a transfer payment. So transfer payments are the payment against which no work has been done. This is what the transfer payment means. Here it has been asked that in which account transfer payments are included in BOP, then it is for the information to the students that it is included in the current account of BOP. So transfer payment is a constituent of this current account of the BOP. Number 11, which is included in the capital account of BOP? Out of 4 options, which one is a component of the capital account? Number 1, investment income. No. Invisibles, it is also not the very component capital account. Commercial borrowings, yes. Commercial borrowings is one of the component of the capital account. The private transfer, no. So this commercial borrowings is one of the component of the capital account. So commercial borrowings would be the answer 1. By financial crowding out, by financial crowding out, economists mean credit rationing. No. What the government borrows cannot be used for private investment. It is also is not the real meaning of commercial crowding. Government borrowings drive up interest rate. Yes, this is the consequence of this crowding out, because this crowding out is the very consequence of fiscal deficit. When there is a fiscal deficit in the economy, government is forced to borrow from central bank. Massive borrowings are being done by the government from the commercial banks, and as a result of this, commercial banks run short of money. And since the volume of money is reduced to the commercial bank on account of the borrowings by the government, this commercial bank, what it does for the remaining money lying with the commercial bank, it raises the interest rate. And due to high interest rate, private investors are massively discouraged. They are being driven out of the investment market. This is called crowding out. And so in this financial crowding out, due to massive or heavy borrowings by the government from the central bank, interest rate is raised. So government borrowings drives up interest rate. This is the outcome, or this is the consequence of the crowding out. Number 13, Assume that an economy begins from macroeconomic equilibrium. Yes. Let that initially any economy is in macroeconomic equilibrium. Then taxes are significantly decreased. If there is an initial macroeconomic equilibrium in the economy, and then if there is severe cut in the taxes, then due to this, expansion and deflation, no. Because initially the economy was in equilibrium and then tax has been reduced, no chance of any expansion. Second one is recession and deflation, still not. This will not be the case. Since the economy was in equilibrium and tax has been reduced, so there would be expansion in the economy, and on account of expansion, economy would feel inflation or economy would experience inflation. So expansion and inflation would be the right answer. So this is how some questions I have explained in just today's class. Again, I am coming tomorrow with few more questions. This is all for today's class, and there is any query, any question from the part of the students or the viewers, please do ask me. Again, I will be just coming available tomorrow. For today, this is all. Thanks and best of luck. Good luck to my students.